Good evening, everyone. Tonight's February 20th regular Board of Trustee meetings.
Call the roll. Mr. Genowine?
Here.
Mr. Crandall?
Here.
Mr. Mahoney?
Here.
And Mr. Simcoe will be here momentarily.
Great. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have anything, actually approval of minutes?
I'll move approval of the February 6th minutes.
Second.
Call the roll. Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes. Additions or deletions to the agenda, John?
Yes, at this point we do not need an executive session.
Okay. And then I have just one thing under open discussion, the land use plan.
Okay.
Relative to that for just a brief moment there.
Okay.
Zoning department. Anybody sign in?
No.
Okay. Hey, Darryl.
Good evening. Got the monthly report for January for zoning. Off to a little bit of a slow start compared to last year, 25 permits at an estimated value of just under 4.8 million. That's down 32% from last year, number of permits, and 27% in estimated value. However, next page, Scott. Single-family dwellings were actually ahead of last year at 13 versus 10 for the month of January. That represents a 30% increase in number of permits and a 15% in estimated value. The estimated value per dwelling is down somewhat from last year, but still remains high at $340,000. If you look back the previous years of 14 through 16, it's actually double a couple of those years. So. Next page, zoning complaints are also down compared to last year, 6 versus 19. That's a 68% decrease. And then on the next page, the monthly meetings, the Board of Zoning Appeals had their organizational meeting in January. They elected a new chairman, Tim Schlachter, and a new vice chairman, Don Miller. And we're retaining the first Monday of the month at 5 p.m. as the meeting time. Zoning Commission re-elected Mary Himmeline as chair and John King as vice chair. Those two have had those positions for quite some time now. They retained the meeting dates of the second Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. In project plan review, we had the Meyer Drive office complex on January 17th. That's pretty much all I have for the monthly report, unless there's any questions.
Well, can you go back to the Zoning Board of Appeals? Yeah. Am I reading that right? Directional sign?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, it did have one variance.
No, but I meant from 5-foot height to 17?
Yes.
I'm misreading.
No, that is correct, Mr. Crandall. That variance was for Brown Honda on Central Avenue. They feel they've been impacted, and the BZA and zoning department staff concurred that they were impacted by the kind of rerouting of Central Avenue right where it curves there just before the 23 interchange. And the current directional sign that they had really was no longer very visible until you were on top of it.
Okay.
So they moved the sign closer to the street, which was allowed, and then the height went from 5 feet to 17 feet.
Perfect. Thanks, Darryl.
The next item I have is Resolution 18021, authorization to file legal action in the Lucas County Common Pleas Court to enforce the zoning resolution. This is for the property at 3240 Piero Avenue. This has been a habitual problem property. They did clean it up significantly last spring and have since fallen back, even worse now than what it had been a year ago. At this point, no.
I'll offer resolution 18021 to file legal action for zoning violations.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Darrell. Hi, Rob.
Hi, good evening, gentlemen, ladies. I have submitted 2 monthly reports, December's, which had previously done in January's. December, key events obviously was snow and ice control. We did have significant events during the month of December, which was unusual for the last 5-6 years. You can see we had 226 hours of overtime involved. We distributed about 800 tons of salt during those events. We also hired a new utility worker in December, Jason Howard. He came on board. He's working out very well and assimilating and conducting training as we speak, or during the last 2 months. Time flies. The project tracking list is complete on page 2. We went over that during the year-end report. If you have any questions on December's.
The ones that aren't crossed off, they carry over to the next.
No, they are complete, Mr. Crandall. I just didn't necessarily cross them off. I was kind of crossing them off as they were completing, but the ones that say complete next to them are complete as well.
Oh, so the whole...
Yeah, the whole list is complete. Those roads are all completed.
Thank you.
I believe in January that I had crossed them off. So. No questions on December. I'll move on to January's. The snow continued, obviously. We had 7 events. We were able to distribute some brine, but due to the frequency of events and the very little brine was distributed compared to last year's amounts this last year. We did have 900 tons of salt distributed. We looked at alternative purchases for our salt. We have used our yearly allowance that I had previously estimated. With the salt dome currently only holding about 1,500 tons, you have to play an estimation game of what winter's going to be like, and then order. If not, you pay to have your salt stored on the dock. So I was a little short this year, but I was able to find additional outside purchases through Morton Salt Company. And then the city of Sylvania was graciously was going to let us purchase 500 tons from them as well, but I don't believe that would be needed, but the offer still stands from them if we do get in a shortage position. But with the purchase from Morton, I think we're in good shape. All the new Ford Explorers from the service department have been turned over to the police and should be in service by now. Other than that, you'll see on the second page the new tracking list for the projects for 2018. One significant note for the OPWC project, which is good news, is when we submit for those projects through OPWC, we submit them as a loan grant project. It gives us a better scoring on our project list compared to others who just want a loan or just want the grant. Fortunately for us, by doing it that way, we got 100% grant money, which is $498,848 for that project, that OPWC project. So that significantly reduces our local share cost. So it's good news for OPWC. That's all I have, unless you have any questions of me.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks. Fire department.
Good
Good afternoon, guys. You should have received my monthly report by email. Really, I only want to point out a couple of things. Mr. Crandall had asked if we could, where we have our fire and EMS responses and incident types, if we could do 2018s and then have 2017s there also. So if you notice, what we're trying to do is the first page is 18, and then you should see 17 right behind it so you can match it. We're working on trying to combine those all to one page, but as soon as we did that, it was really, really hard to try to read them. But that's how the whole monthly report went. You'll see it for fire and EMS incident types, responses. You get the 2018 and you got the 2017. And then also we found a new report also that's on page number 6. It's called patient count per patient disposition, and it actually breaks down what each patient was transported to the hospital for. Go down just a little bit more, Scott. It breaks out in a pie chart, but it also gives you the numbers off to the right. And you have 2018 on page 6, and page 7 is 2017. We were able to actually pull up the numbers for that one also. The rest of the month went pretty smoothly. Community risk reduction had its normal inspections, state inspections, smoke alarm checks. We did some home visits. Lucas County EMS continuing education started back up again. We had 248 hours of training. The guys who were the crews were actually able to get out on some ice. We haven't had that in the last couple of years, and our ice rescue guys have been getting in the pool at Northview, but they were actually able to get on 10 Mile Creek where that's fast water moving, and then they were able to actually get on Erlander this year with some ice training also, so that worked out rather well. January 2018 overtime total was 73.59 hours, which is down significantly from last year. And then the very last page, we lost a couple of citizens here in our community. I'm very, very close to the family. 3 of the boys actually were on the volunteer fire department. We lost their mom, and then a couple of weeks later, we lost their dad. So it was kind of a tough couple of weeks for the Ball family. They live up, the mom and dad lived on Maple Street. So it was just a little thank you. I let the guys rotate through, and everybody was actually able to make it up to Reed to pay their last respects. And then the last thing I have is a resolution 18020, authorization to purchase 2 2018 Ford Explorers. I gave you guys my breakdown. In 2014, we had 19 vehicles. Currently, we only have 16 vehicles. In these 2 vehicles, I plan to use the money. We sold 5 vehicles in the last 3 months, and it made enough money that even with the state bid, I am under the state bid with the monies that we brought in, so.
Good move. I'll offer resolution 18.020 to authorize purchase of 2 Explorers.
Second.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Thanks,
Chief.
Any questions? Thank you.
Hi, Ray.
Hi. I wish I had a colorful pie chart like the fire department.
That's pretty impressive.
I just had 2 things that jumped out. Our property damage accidents are up by 33, and our injury accidents are up by 7. I just attribute that mostly to the weather. And it's January, so that's about it. There's no real patterns there. There's nothing that jumps out at me. And I don't know if there's something that jumps out at you, but any questions? Good?
Questions, guys?
No.
Nothing?
All right.
Okay.
This is year-end?
This is January, sir.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I think we did December last month.
I couldn't remember, thanks.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks, Ray. Administrator?
Anything for me? No, nothing?
Well, I do have one thing for, actually, that's for open discussion. Go ahead, Dave, sorry. You're on, buddy.
Fiscal officer, we see the month-end analysis here, and it's just the first month, and there's really not much to report. Things don't get more interesting until we get into March and we get our settlement, and then we can see what how our revenue's doing. Because we've got a quarter's worth of expenses in, so that's all I have.
Okay. Open discussion. I had an idea I thought of. I was maybe with the help of John Zeitler on this one, is the light bulb went on last week at that land use plan, and I had spoken to Reveille about the thought, and it's up to you guys what you're thinking, but I'd like to do a marketing piece for Sylvania Township. There really are the townships, the villages, and the cities throughout the area don't really have a marketing piece that differentiates ourselves with Perrysburg Township, especially when it comes to the housing market. If you look at just my rough calculations, if you look at the numbers based on income, based on, and when I've done the numbers, I can copy you guys, or John, you can disseminate to the guys, and you, of course. But what I was thinking was, and for not a whole lot of money, and I'll try to get the particulars of that, but I'd like to, we're losing considerably amount of houses built in Perrysburg Township. And but when you start throwing in the income tax for the education for the schools, and you start throwing in some variables, take a drive into Perrysburg Township and those ditches, 16-year-old driving out to a new subdivision. I mean, I think there's some intangibles that I think the real estate industry could use. I think the builders and developers, that's one thing we've heard throughout this land use plan, is, hey, we're more expensive, and we need to, I wouldn't mind putting a marketing piece that they would be able to be able to use for, not the city of Sylvania, would be just a township thing, because we're structured differently, but I think we're in a competitive role and competitive world, and these guys would be, I did talk to them briefly about it last week at the land use plan, they would be interested in putting a marketing piece together that we would have and be able to hand out to whomever that would see fit to use it, but it would try to give us an apples and apples comparison, because right now it's an apples and oranges.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, but I think we need, for instance, we have a rec district.
That would all be included.
Well, yeah.
But the average person the person that drives out here doesn't understand that.
I agree.
And I think if we were able to, if the real estate industry, the builder industry, whatever, the lifeblood of our economy for us out here, and or businesses, I mean, obviously, the more houses we get, the more businesses that want to come out here.
You think we could get CIC to participate in that?
The only reason I didn't consider that was because it's a joint thing, and this would be strictly for township.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So give it some thought. I'll run some numbers by you guys. It's something that I wouldn't mind being able to get to the people that are fighting to have us reinvest in the township.
That's why we added the comparison to the land use plan, because you hear, well, things are really good down there, and they're not bad, but I still think we have a lot of benefits here.
We do, but we're not, but nobody's going to read the land use plan.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a one-page sheet saying, okay, here's what makes us different. For example, God forbid one of your kids ever got bullied, but my son had an option to go to a different school. I mean, you go into Perrysburg Township, you're running one junior high, you're running one high school, and something bad happens, you don't have any choices. I was lucky for my son to have a choice based on some issues, and I know, I'm just saying as an example, that's an intangible benefit that we don't get to sell, that realtors or builders or developers don't get to sell.
Do you think Reveille could do this?
I talked about it, they would love to do it, but I gotta get the numbers, I want to get some financials from John on this, and, where we're at based on income. It's all, a new construction house, if somebody makes $50,000 and somebody makes $100,000, the tax differential is a lot more. The more they make, obviously the less the gap, which makes us more competitive.
Right, and then we've got the income tax for the schools there.
Correct, and some of my rough calculations, even fudging those in there, we're still apart. So how do we get over that hump is some of the intangibles.
Well, we also probably got a police department, I would say, more than double what they have. I don't know the road.
But bike pass.
I don't know the road mileage.
Right, but bike pass. I mean, there's a lot of different things that I think I think the public, if they were known about what makes us different, it's not just dollars and cents. Who cares about a $1,000 tax bill if you're driving your car in a ditch on a snowy day in Perrysburg Township going to your new subdivision? We don't have those problems here. That's just my thought, so.
Yeah, what about working with the businesses that it would benefit, like the realtors, the builders, and kind of, I'm sure there's realtors that target Sylvania, and they probably have a pitch already that, those title companies.
Well, actually, it was, I've heard it from Mike White.
Yeah,
Doug Howard.
Yeah.
Julie Fisher called and said, so I went to the chamber first, I said, hey, would this be a project for a new intern? They've got that intern coming in, I said, hey, how about a little project for the internship?
Yeah.
But the number, I think it takes somebody a lot smarter with the marketing thought process to say, here's some, and again,
Well, I
it
think,
definitely can be for the businesses, absolutely, because it's a benefit to the businesses also.
Benefit all of us.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I mean, I'd just buy in more
Yeah.
support, and maybe
I
they can
think,
help
I'm
fund
not
it.
sure, but I think elderly housing and care. I
Yeah,
think,
we have a
we've got
hospital.
a hospital
Right.
here.
But there's people, the average person that's selling,
Doesn't, yeah.
or that's trying to promote the area may not know all the benefits, that if they were able to say, here's a piece of
The
paper.
piece that you have, and you can get it to, like, to the realtors, to the home builders and that, so they've got something that they could say, well, here's some interesting stuff.
Here's what makes us different.
Yeah, it makes us
Yeah.
different,
Yeah.
and like we have a transport unit, I don't think some of all those places do in that, I don't know if they do in that, and we've got a lot of things here that people don't always think about,
Right.
And so if somebody had a piece, just a pass out, a 1-page or 2-page.
I think they only have one station, don't they? Even if you put the city there, they've got 2 stations.
I think they're trying to put another one in,
Yeah.
but they,
Yeah, well, they've been doing that.
yeah, they talked
for
about that
years.
for how long?
Well, we'll see what the numbers look like, if there's something that
Yeah.
fits, okay,
I like
we'll
it.
see what goes on from there, so.
You'll,
Yeah, I'll probably get with you, John, and maybe we'll start running numbers,
Yeah.
my numbers, and see how they work, and copy the trustees, and just kind of give some scenarios of what we're,
if I can help on that, I'll be glad to
okay.
help.
With that being said, I'd make a motion to adjourn at 5:54.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Good spot, Neil.
Well, thanks.